Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, I rise today to oppose the motion before this House and to place on my record my firm and complete support for the Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Shri Om Birla ji. When I stand here today to speak on this important issue, ma'am, I do so with full awareness that I'm not defending an individual alone. I'm defending the integrity of this House. The authority of the Speaker is not a personal privilege, it is an institutional necessity. The Speaker represents the discipline, the dignity and the drive towards achieving the lofty hopes and aspirations that our forefathers encapsulated in the Constitution of India. If the neutrality of the Speaker is questioned without reasonable grounds, we risk weakening the very institution that safeguards democratic deliberations. Differences of opinion are natural, ma'am. They are in fact the lifeblood of democracy. But attempts to erode the institution in the name of political disagreements is dangerous. Let us remind ourselves of a fundamental truth. The dignity of Parliament is inseparable from the dignity of the Constitution itself. 3 opposition MPs, ma'am, have moved for the removal of Speaker Shri Om Birla ji. This initial proposal submitted was full of mistakes, such as wrong dates, photocopied signatures, and therefore technically could have been rejected. It is the generosity of Shri Om Birla ji who not only asked them to rectify the errors and resubmit the motion which was against him. This motion was against him and yet he accepted it, but also admitted the same in adherence to the proper procedure. This speaks volumes about the personality and genuineness of our Speaker, an upholder of democratic ideals. Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, Shri Om Birla ji has had a long journey as part of Indian political system. We see flashes of his dedication to the development and upliftment of people during his time as a legislator in Rajasthan Legislative Assembly. During the 13th Rajasthan Vidhan Sabha, he raised more than 500 questions, an extraordinary demonstration of legislative commitment. His contributions were so substantive that he was included in the list of Sadan ke Sitare, the stars of the House, on more than 6 occasions. He led movements to eradicate the malnutrition from the Saharia tribal area of Baran district of Rajasthan and led movements to help the victims of the Bhuj earthquake of 2001, aged pensioners with their medicines and consumer cooperatives. Ma'am, for a democracy to thrive, its opposition is an important factor. The opposition by its very name embodies an alternative political thought in the interest of strengthening parliamentary debate, discussions and deliberations. However, it is sad to see a rather sorry state of affairs that parade before us every day, where our friends across the aisle march into the well, shout, disrupt, and use all unparliamentary methods that strike at the very pillars and foundations of our parliament. On several bills and debates of national importance, the opposition has chosen to speak outside the parliament or on social media, while remaining conspicuously absent from their very debates where democratic scrutiny should occur. It is very disheartening when the leaders of the largest opposition parties collectively and individually performed below the average in attendance, questions submitted and debates. Incidentally, ma'am, 281 members of parliament in this House are the first-timers. 74 are lady MPs. Their average is much higher than the leaders of the opposition. While the national average of attendance stands at 86%, questions raised at 88%, debates participated at 17%, the average of the leaders of the 3 largest parties are not even half of the national averages of attendance, questions and participation and debates. Are they aware of this? Of course, yes. In fact, it is this guilty feeling of underperformance that drives them towards repetitive, disruptive behavior in the House. Ma'am, in the recent times, we have seen the opposition display unruly and unparliamentary behavior. I myself have experienced this concerning change in their behavior while sitting in the very chair. During the first half of the budget, Parliament was disrupted repeatedly. The opposition chose disruption over discussion. 8 members had to be suspended after engaging in serious misconduct inside the Lok Sabha. Instead of participating in debate, these members stormed the proceedings with slogan shouting, chaos, and even throwing papers at me while I sat on the chair. And again, when another honorable chairperson was sitting on the chair, an act that directly challenges the dignity and authority of the parliament itself. One of the suspended MPs even had the audacity to address the chair as Yar, and it was objected. Yet another member who said, Chairman Saab, Yar kaha to kaun si aafat toot padi hai. This is the approach. This is the respect that the opposition gives to Lok Sabha, to the parliament and to the chairman. This attitude and behavior has deeply pained me. Pained me because of their attitude and behavior, because of the respect they have for the democracy of this country. However, this is not the first time the Congress has behaved so miserably. Kindly recall, in 2014, one honorable member of parliament has brought pepper spray into the house and sprayed. So that is the respect. Congress party has been habituated to such behavior which is unsafe towards fellow and respected MPs in the parliament. And when such tactics don't work, they simply resort to stalling the functioning of the House. Every minute that this House functions represents public money and public trust. The functioning of both houses of the parliament costs approximately 2.5 lakh rupees per minute, 1.5 lakh crore rupees per hour, and nearly 9 crore rupees per day. This money comes, ma'am, from the hard work of millions of citizens who pay taxes to build this nation. When the House is forced into repeated adjournments due to disruptions by the opposition, it is not merely time that is wasted, it is the hard money of the people that is wasted. In 2023, both the houses lost more than half of their scheduled working hours due to the disruptions. During the monsoon session of 2025, the Lok Sabha functioned for only 37 hours out of the 120 hours scheduled, while the Rajya Sabha functioned for only about 41 hours. All this is because of the disruptions made by the opposition parties. The Congress party-led opposition did not even spare the Honorable President's address. During the budget session of 2026, when Honorable President Srimati Draupadi Murmuji was addressing members of the opposition, raised slogans and disrupted her speech. The President's address represents one of the most important constitutional movements of our parliamentary calendar. Disrupting that movement is not merely disorder, it is disrespectful to the highest constitutional office of the Republic. Truly, it is sad to see how the opposition continues to fall from their own standards out of sheer desperation. Ma'am, despite all these challenges, the tenure of Sri Om Birla ji as Speaker of this House has been marked by remarkable legislative productivity and meaningful institutional reform within Parliament. Under his stewardship, the 17th Lok Sabha recorded an impressive 97% productivity, one of the highest in recent parliamentary history. During this period, 179 non-financial bills were enacted, and notably 58% of these bills were passed within 2 weeks of their introduction, demonstrating both efficiency and legislative movement. Landmark legislations of the Constitution's Women's Reservation Act, Nari Shakti Vandan Act 2023, J&K Reorganization Act 2019, the Muslim Protection of Rights of Marriage Act 2019 were enacted during this period. I am happy to note that despite the best efforts of opposition to halt the parliamentary proceedings, the momentum of our Speaker has continued into the 18th Lok Sabha, where its first House functioned for 372 hours and 36 minutes, achieving an average productivity of 103.17%, while the sixth session in 2025 recorded 111%. Ma'am, a historic number of 204 issues were raised during 0 hour in a single day. That is because of Honorable Speaker Sri Om Birla ji wanted to encourage the highest ever in the Lok Sabha history. Equally transformative has been the Digital Parliament 2.0 initiative, including digitization of over 8,000 hours of parliamentary archives, artificial intelligence-based search tools, digital attendance systems, and the Sansad Bhashini multilingual translation platform, strengthening accessibility, efficiency, and modernization of India's parliamentary function. Our Speaker, Sri Om Birla ji, actively encouraged first-time and women MPs' participation in the House. I have personally seen him engage, interact, and encourage many members across the party lines who had never spoken earlier to contribute to the parliamentary functioning via questions, debates, and even supplementaries. As someone who entered this house for the first time, I can personally attest to the encouragement given by Shri Om Birla ji. Being entrusted with a responsibility such as serving on panel of speakers demonstrates his belief that first-time parliamentarians such as myself must be given the opportunity to learn and grow. Honorable Speaker Shri Om Birla ji recently introduced biometric attendance system. Probably this must have frustrated the opposition because they have to now record electronically. Ma'am, recently we have seen an increasingly desperate strategy emerge where attacks are not just restricted to political leaders, but to other constitutional institutions such as Election Commission, the Supreme Court of India, and even the defense forces. It is deeply troubling when judicial proceedings are misrepresented for political gain within this very house. In 2019, public claims were made both inside and outside the parliament that Honorable Supreme Court has endorsed the slogan "Chaukidar Chor Hai" in connection with the Rafale procurement case. This assertion was factually incorrect. The Honorable Supreme Court never endorsed such a slogan, nor did it make any observation that would be reasonably be interpreted in that manner. The Honorable Court itself later clarified that its observation has been misquoted and misrepresented. Such conduct goes beyond ordinary political rhetoric. When a member represents the words of Supreme Court within the Parliament, it undermines public faith in both the institutions simultaneously. The judiciary is one of the most important foundational pillars of our constitutional democracy. Any distortion of its judgments within Parliament risks eroding institutional respect. Misleading the House on matters concerning the Supreme Court can be considered legitimate parliamentary misconduct. Madam, now when it comes to the matter of Indian armed forces, it's a very, very serious matter. Repeatedly, the opposition leaders have misquoted, particularly on what is happening on the Chinese border. And there was a mention about the 4,000 square kilometers being conceded, which is not a correct statement. This has deeply eroded the morale of the armed forces, but for the gut feeling of our forces and the leadership, they stood by their ground and they never got demoralized by what were the empty words made by the opposition leaders. Whatever the political differences, if there is one instant of parliamentary unity or has truly stood rock solid, it has been in the representation of India as a country in foreign gatherings and institutions. Unfortunately, madam, whenever our opposition leaders go abroad, they go and sit in discussions, meetings, and criticize India in the international forums. This I would like to mention once. In the direct contrast are the efforts of our Honorable Speaker, Shri Om Birla ji, who has ably represented India's parliamentary democracy and its vibrancy with distinction across the world. Over the years, he has led or participated in numerous parliamentary delegations and international conferences. Most recently, in January 2026, under the leadership of our Speaker, India hosted the 28th Conference of Speakers and Presiding Officers of the Commonwealth in New Delhi, further demonstrating India's leadership in global parliamentary diplomacy. Additionally, to promote inter-parliamentary harmony and discussion, the Honorable Speaker constituted inter-parliamentary friendship groups, giving each senior member the chance to represent the interest of India in foreign countries. This never happened earlier. I am sure that many here are aware that in 1994, the then Honorable Prime Minister chose the then leader of opposition, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, to represent the interest of India in international discussions. Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji went, did his job, returned without bringing the image of the country down. Could the same be trusted today? I don't. In final conclusion, ma'am, the real question before the nation is very simple. Should Parliament function through debate and discipline or through disruption and spectacle? As I conclude, I would like to state that the strength of the parliamentary democracy lies in the ability of the elected representatives to engage in structured debate, to question the government through established procedures, and to uphold the dignity of the institution that embodies the will of the people. the Speaker's role primarily serves to safeguard these principles. The Speaker is not an adversary to any political party. The Speaker is the guardian of the parliamentary order. The Speaker must always stand firmly for rules, order, and the dignity of the Parliament, because when Parliament loses its dignity, democracy itself begins to lose its strength. The Speaker has only one duty: to defend the discipline, functioning, and institutional sanctity of the Parliament. Protecting the authority of the Speaker is therefore not about protecting an individual, it is about protecting the very institution of the Parliament itself. This, Honorable Madam, this is exactly what Shri Om Birla ji was doing, is doing, and I am fully confident that he will continue to do so. With these words, ma'am, I firmly oppose the motion and stand my support for Shri Om Birla ji. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Andhra. Thank you so much, ma'am.